Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Mind. You are here, my friends, because you know that magic is an art form with the ability to move and entertain people like no other. But you know that developing this skill requires diligent practice and a detailed understanding of the craft. So my goal with this show and company is to provide you with a community to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you to develop your magic. My name is Christoph, and today we have JC Rodarte. This is a new type of show we're doing on Magic Mind. We're here to talk about clone. So, what is clone? Well, it starts back in 1997 when J.C. Rodarte competed in FISM and was disqualified for cheating, i.e. using a stooge. The judges couldn't fathom how else his effect could have been done. The answer was not stooges, but in fact, clone. Almost 20 years later, he is now releasing the product with Illusionist, and he's here to talk with us and answer some of the questions that we've had about the product before purchasing it. So I'd like to thank you, JC, for coming on the show.
No, thank you, Chris. So happy to be with you.
Perfect. So let's get right into it. We have questions here from Facebook and Reddit.
All right.
Why, after 20 years, are you now deciding to release this?
Okay. Well, actually, it was released in a short run back then under the name Miracle Maker. The clone now, it's a completely different version. But why? It's an interesting question. I was out of Magic for almost 8 years, so I stopped working on this. Then I came back around 2006 in Magic, but I came only as a performer. And then, like five years ago, a little bit more, the trick back then was it worked really nice, but it had some unpractical issues. It wasn't really easy to perform. You needed a lot of practice. You needed a lot of things. It wouldn't last a lot. I mean, you would have to buy pens one and another because it run out of ink really fast. So that back then it was used with a big pen, with a roller pen. So it was really difficult to use. I mean, I could use it because I knew how the method or how the twists and turns were
Sure.
working. But I mean, for the Magic world, for the Magic community, it was really difficult to perform, to use it in a practical basis. So 5 years from now, I started thinking, okay, if this could be done, not with a big pen, but now with a Sharpie. Back then there were no Sharpies. It would be perfect. So, and I started taking on problem by problem that it had back then, and trying to solve it so I could get a perfect product. And I mean, 5 years from 5 years from now, I started working, and now it's ready. I mean, it took a lot of research and developing, and it took a lot of research and developing back then. I mean, it was like 3 years to develop it for FISM. But to actually perfect it and to know that it will last enough and that it will be practical and taking out all of the issues it had, this long.
Okay, perfect. You actually did a good job answering a lot of the questions that I'm going to ask, but I'll ask them anyway to see. No, it's okay. It's okay. You kind of knew what the community was thinking, which is a good thing. But I'll ask them anyway. So, how is this different from Miracle Maker, which you released in a small run back in the day?
Okay, it's day and night. Even though it's the same principle, it's that same principle, but really, as I told you before, taking out all of the issues that back then it had. Now, back then you had to make a lot of preparation to the cards. It was only 4 cards. You used a big pen. The gimmick and the handling was really, really difficult. The principle is mainly the same, but it has evolved to a very practical version, which I think that now with really little practice, everyone can do and can actually use in their show.
Okay, great. Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea came from I was like it was like 1993, I think, and I had a friend of mine, which was a great close-up performer, and we went out for a drink, and he started talking to me about what happened to him in an accidental performance. He uh, first he was out with a friend or friends, and he did some magic, and he had this guy sign a card, and then he kept those cards, so he had a signed card by him, and like I think a couple of months later, I don't know how many, 3 4 months later, he went out with this guy and Perfect Girls to have dinner. So he remembered that he had a signed card by him, and he took those cards and he thought, okay, I want to, I can make a duplicate. I will force the card. I'll ask him to sign it again with the same kind of marker that he had, and they went into this Mexican restaurant, and they have this guy that builds cotton candy around a stick. If this makes sense.
Sure.
And and in the stick he made an incision, and in the incision he placed the duplicate card,
Wow.
and built around it and put it back, and bought that and another one. So he had a gift for the girls that they were hanging out with. So he waited until the girls started eating the cotton, and when they started eating the cotton, he started doing magic, and he forced the card. He made him sign, and he tried to time it. So when he saw that the girl was about to reach the card, he will make the card disappear, and timed it so she had a bite on the card that was inside the cotton candy. So it was a miracle, and actually he was like happy because this guy was kind of a producer for a television show, and that meant him a booking. So that it was like crazy for him. And he was only, telling me this because it was his real strong anecdote, but that hit my mind, and I said, "Wow, it's so unfortunate that you have to do this once in a while." Now that we were shooting actually Clone in New York, John Bukowski was actually telling it about this same thing. I mean, once in a while I get this signature, and I get to perform to those same people and get a duplicate from one of. It was the only way to make it possible, but actually you wouldn't have a perfect duplicate because nobody signs exactly the same twice. So that's what got my head going, and I went into a lot of research and developing. And my father was a real help in this because he's a really recognized chemical engineer. So I had the idea, and he will direct me to where to look or how can it be, and he helped me with the formula so they were stable, and it's a lot of chemistry involved in this method. So
wow,
that's the history behind it.
that's cool. Okay, is this reusable? And when I ask that, I mean, obviously, any Sharpie will run dry eventually, but is there a certain amount of uses before you have to start buying refills for this?
Yeah, I mean, the Sharpie would last you long enough. I mean, because you will not use it as a regular Sharpie. You will only use it to get signatures. So
Right.
I don't think it will run out. I think it probably will dry out because of time, but maybe some years. I mean,
Okay.
the Sharpie will not have a problem. It's not a regular Sharpie. It's the ink in the Sharpie. What makes this all work.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, I mean, even though you don't want to lose the Sharpie, it's kind of the important part of it. Clone. The gimmicks that we provide with Clone, they are reusable. You have to wait a certain amount of days before using each gimmick again, but we provide you with enough gimmicks so you can perform in a daily basis. And it is because the ink will absorb inside the gimmick. The minute you see the method by itself is magic. I mean, it's kind of Yeah. Everyone that sees the method goes like, "What?" It's really weird
Sure.
to watch it. But the thing is, if you can use it again, yeah. Each gimmick, I normally want to use one gimmick and throw it away, but you don't have to do that. I mean, each gimmick you will at least get 5 uses for each one, but perfectly. If you take care of it properly, you can get 10 to 15 uses per gimmick, and you have a bunch of them, and then we will sell only the refills for the gimmicks. So
Okay.
you will have forming hundreds of times.
Okay. Great. Is it possible to transfer a signature from one type of object to another? So a playing card to a dollar bill to a business card.
Absolutely. Wherever you need the duplicate,
What?
you can place it. I did it once it's not very practical, but I did it once. Signed apple.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So buy the apple, and then the apple will restore and be signed. It's not very easy to do because it's not. I mean, it's a round surface, and
Yeah.
you have to be extra careful. You need an assistant for doing that because you cannot pull that out during the show by yourself. But it was a fun thing to do.
That is crazy.
You can sign a dollar bill and make the signature appear in a card, or in any sort of paper. It works best, and dollar bills and playing cards is where you get actually the best impressions that you can have. But you can place it wherever you want.
Okay. I thought that doing this would give me more idea of what the method is, but now I'm more confused than when we started.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault, but that's crazy that you can sign an apple. It's probably good that that the method isn't very obvious. All right.
It's quite tricky. I mean, it took a lot because let me talk to you about it. We took the principle of the method is really, really old.
Huh.
We found it in really old books of chemistry. That's where my father came about. He said like, "Hey, I think I saw something in this book, but I don't know if that works." So we started researching in old literature, and we tried different methods before hitting this one. But the method is so old that it's kind of new. Now, the old method wouldn't work with today's thing, so we took the idea from there, but we took it somewhere else so we can actually do it for Magic. It wouldn't work for Magic. That's where the tricky part started. But as I told you, the method itself, it's really magical.
Yeah, well, for people who don't know, I talked a little bit at the beginning about FISM, how it fooled all the judges, and it also fooled Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
It's funny because instead of looking back in old magic books, which almost every magician does, you look back into an old chemistry book. So of course that's going to fool magicians. Yeah. That's not where magicians are looking. So that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It took so many twists and turns. It was so difficult to make it work perfectly because we could actually pull a duplicate at the beginning when I knew that this was probably the best way or the best road to go to develop a clone. Even though, I mean, the duplicate has to be perfect because if it's not perfect, it's not magic. So that was the tricky part.
Right.
Really, really making a perfect duplicate that will. I mean, actually in my presentation, I give away the duplicate as the original, and people will not tell.
Right. Okay, so what kind of magician is this for? There's a lot of magicians, right? Stage magicians, parlor magicians, close-up magicians. So I guess some of the requirements there might be, is this something that needs cover or timed misdirection or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it does need a little bit of presentation skills. It needs a little sleight of hand, but it's, I mean, not difficult whatsoever. To perform with cards or with bills, it's a different method. For bills, we have provided a leather wallet that will help you do the work. But the beautiful part is that the dirty work happens right in front of the spectators. So what I usually do, it takes a little time. I think the question was addressed in that direction. let me tell you about it without exposing the method. I need to get the signature from the original, the ink, and then transfer it to wherever I want it. So in order to me to get the ink from the original, it will take like 20 to 30 seconds tops, that the card will be out of sight from the audience.
Okay.
But it happens in the hands, and they will not see anything. It's all self-included. So the minute I hand it back, I start duplicating and developing the duplicate. So that duplicate, in order to get it perfect, I recommend a couple of minutes to 3 minutes of the gimmick to be in touch with the other card or bill, so that it's really intense and really crisp and really, really nice. But the beautiful thing, you don't have to go right away into the routine. What I do in my show, it's I give I give the card, I get it signed, I get the duplicate as I'm patterning something interesting. I normally use like I don't know if it's the right term in English, graphology. I don't know if it's a thing. It's like
maybe I don't know.
It's interpreting somebody's signature or somebody's
okay, sure,
calligraphy, their personality. It's kind of a psychological thing. So I look at the signature, I get it, and I patter a little. I mean, 20 seconds patter. It's nothing, and I hand it back. And now I duplicate, and I go into a different routine. I mean, you don't have to do this right away. If you saw Full Loss, that's what Adam did. I mean, and nobody thought about it.
Right.
He went into the coins. He went into multiplying the money and pattering about it as the duplicate was being developed. So when it's ready, you only load it where you will need it, and you can do it as a solo performer, absolutely. You can do it in a close-up basis. I do it in a close-up basis for 3 or 4 people, and having only maybe a little case or something with me, or you don't even need a case. In card work, you need a wallet and you need the cards. So, or you can do it I do it in my big stage illusion show. I mean, I have a big show here in Mexico. I do it there, and I make the card appear in a car from someone of the audience.
Right. Well, one thing that I think is interesting there is, a lot of people online were asking, like, is this okay for stage work or close-up work? But it sounds like, based on what you're saying, that 20 to 30 seconds, it seems like anybody can do that. That's not really something. And people were watching the Adam Wilbur clip, and he used a lot more time this direction, but it's not because he needed it. That's just what he ended up doing. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Cool. Because the routine requested that build up.
Great. Okay, so those are all the questions that I had from the community. I'll let you, if you'd like, if there's any questions that you've seen people ask you when you show them to them. I don't know if there's maybe something that you think people would be surprised to know about this when they get it, or obviously you released this a few years ago as Miracle Maker. When you first started showing that to people, is there anything that they wanted to ask you, or is there anything that you'd like to add, basically?
Yeah, normally they're worried about practicality of the method, and I can tell you that with very little practice, I know that everyone as a magician is used to know that you have to practice. Even though there are a lot of magicians nowadays that see practicing or not being able to perform it right away as a downside of the trick. I don't see it that way. I know that it will take a little bit of thinking. I think that the brilliant part of this method is that everyone will start thinking their own ideas, because this is not a trick. This is a method to making whatever you want to do with it.
Right.
So don't be scared. It will be really, really easy. I think we have thought about everything possible, all the possibilities that can make you not get a perfect duplicate. I've screwed up for you many times in my performances, so this will not happen again. For instance, I've been able. I have placed the signature in a duplicate bill in a different place of the build because I wasn't thinking.
Sure.
Or I was sometimes I missed the part of the signature. In the original method, I always gave the original back, so it was perfect. But I think that with the proper handling and with a little practice, you will get it out right. And you can practice it without using, without wasting gimmicks. You can practice it so you can feel comfortable with the handling.
Oh, that's nice.
And then you can do it sometimes so you see that your handling is correct and you are sure that the duplicates are perfect. And then you're ready to go. I mean, it will not be difficult whatsoever.
Great.
I think that's the main question from the and the other one, it's very important. If you can perform it right away, no, you have to wait like for 3 minutes. But if you think about it as a magician, when you have to duplicate develop, you're way ahead of the audience. I mean, you can even go from somewhere else and then go back 20 minutes later if you wish, or wherever you want. I love to perform it with an assistant. You can perform it easily as a solo performer, but with an assistant, you can take it really. I mean, as I told you, I make the card appear in somebody's car, which is like they freak out.
Wait, inside somebody's card?
Car.
Oh, car.
Car, yeah.
What?
Inside
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That's for the... and it's really big. We play that for big theaters. So, I mean, the beautiful part is that if you have an assistant, you only need to get the signature, the 20 seconds of the signature, and the assistant will take the gimmick with the signature backstage, and he will develop the duplicate and load it wherever you want. I mean,
okay, that's cool. I love this. It sounds like something that once people start having, they're going to come up with a billion ideas because you're right. It's not a trick. It's a method. I'm sorry to cut us off here, but I'm really glad that you helped us answer these questions. I think this is really, really cool. A lot of people in the community have been frustrated lately with getting tricks and not really knowing what they are beforehand. I really, really appreciate this. So many people from the community are going to appreciate a creator being so open and honest about their product and not, blindsiding people, making them get the product and then be surprised when they don't know how everything is. It's not what they thought it was, or they didn't have their questions answered beforehand. And I think that that's a dangerous thing that we should try and get rid of in the community. And for you to do this, so many people are going to be very grateful. So thank you.
No, thank you. And just adding one last thought.
Sure.
A lot of magicians see as a downside the thing that you have to put some practice in something, or you cannot do it right away.
Right.
Since this is a method, you will not be able to just get it and perform something right away. You will need a little practice, but I'm being perfectly honest. You don't need a lot of practice. You need just a little practice, and that, I think it's fair to sponge rabbits. I mean, if you want to pull out a perfect presentation to your audience, you have to put some practice and thinking in your magic.
Right.
So I hope they do, because the more they think about clone and clone applications and uses, more powerful magic we will be able to see for laymen. And I'm thinking only laymen, because for laymen you can do really, really strong magic and really take it to another level. And one last thing, we will have an email that you will be provided if you buy clone, and a secret discussion clone group in Facebook, where Adam Wilbur will be, and Jaren Clark and some of the guys, and we'll be solving doubts and giving ideas and making this grow even bigger than what it already is.
That's so cool. I think that's a wonderful idea. All right, I want to thank you once more for coming on the show. I hope people like this. If you do like this new format, I want to try and continue this. This was an awesome first episode. I think it could be a cool idea to move further on. So if anyone's watching likes this, let us know. Let us know this is something you want to see. Other than that, thank you once again, JC, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. The community is going to appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you and all of your community. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. See you later.